You actually talked about that in next episode.
Let me start that just section.
Yeah.
Just gonna do that. So
It's season 4 Tuesday.
Yay! Oh my goodness, season 4, senior
Quattro.
year. Yep, gonna be just like senior year. Nope, I can't say that line yet because we're not there. We're not there. But next season, I'm gonna say it. Okay, guys, we're so glad you're here. It's a new season for us. It's a new school year for Jenny and for our kids and yours. And that means the return of the after school meltdown. Yay! So we're talking about what causes it, what you can do to calm everyone down, and hopefully prevent them altogether. Yay, you're here. Welcome to How to Be a Grown Up with CK and GK. Let's get started.
But before we do that, with me today is Caitlin, but we'll call her the magician because when she enters a room, everyone else just disappears.
Oh, well, that's Jenny. She's starting a new school year as a assistant principal, which is
I'm
so cool.
fancy.
She's smart as a whip. She's cool under pressure, just like Ann Perkins. That's my girl. Go, Jenny.
Yay!
Proud of you.
Thanks.
And
I'm excited.
I'm going to give a shout out today to us because we're starting our season 4. And in the immortal words of Snoop, I'd like to thank me for believing in me.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Have you seen this meme that says he's America's grandpa?
He's the best. We're going to get into the memes later because I can't get enough of them, but the one where he's got his eyes all big and he's got the glasses up and everyone's using it for like when I learn all these.
Yes.
I saw another one that was like, I bet the bald eagle didn't realize it was going to be beat out for America's mascot by Snoop. So good.
Yes. That is good.
So awesome.
All right. So today we are talking about that after school meltdown. Pick up the kids. You're so excited. And then the evening collapses.
The witching hour, all of those things. So our sources for today's episode are after school restraint collapse. After school restraint collapse is a real thing. Here's how to deal with it by Colleen Seto for todaysparent.com. After school restraint collapse, why kids fall apart at home and what to do about it by Nicole Fabian Weber for care.com. And this simple habit solved my son's after school restraint collapse by Jenna Steller for Motherly. So a lot of this, I think personally, comes from managing your expectations as a parent about what's supposed to happen after school. I think a lot of us have that leave it to beaver mindset when it comes to what's supposed to happen after school, right? So for me, and I'm going to generalize here, you as a parent, you want that big happy hug when your kid gets off the bus and they just sort of stare at you. Or you want that sweet information-packed conversation about the school day, and instead you get, yeah, school was good.
How should I find?
Or it was fine. And by the way, we did talk about kid conversation starters way, way back in season 3 in episode 90. So if you want kid convo starters that are better than, how was school? You can go back and listen to those. But, going back to your expectations, you might want that like ants on a log, beautiful after school snack, and you put it all out, and instead you get the, oh my God, this is not what I wanted. Or this water is too cold, or it's not cold enough, or I didn't want water, even though that's what they asked for yesterday.
Or this morning.
Lord help us
That's
all,
my
right?
favorite. Will you bring this for me as an after school snack? And then when I bring it, that's not what I wanted.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So just understand, like, your expectations are one part, but managing that meltdown is the other.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, this meltdown is like a real phenomenon.
Oh, yeah.
This is not something that like only you and I have experienced. This is so real that psychologists have named it.
Yes. And I have to say this. This is also not like the phenomenon that only teachers like really get, which is the full moon phenomenon, right? This is not
Right.
where nobody believes that full moon affects behavior until they actually become a teacher. And then they're like looking at their calendars and going, oh my gosh, it's a full moon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like, this is actually scientifically studied and experienced by everyone who has school age children.
Right.
There you go. Okay.
So Andrea Lowen Nair, she's a counselor. She coined this term after school restraint collapse. And basically that's fancy psychology talk for your kid loses their mind after school.
Yes.
But there's like a reason why.
Okay.
They have been holding it together all day long and they need to decompress. They've been keeping their emotions in check and their body. And now they want to release all these emotions when they get to their safe place. But they don't know that they need to do this. And they don't know how either.
That's interesting because I've always felt like they don't know how to do it, but you just added in this other piece, they don't know that they need to do it.
Right.
As adults, we're all like, oh, we just need to decompress. But like, so do they.
They do. But they don't even know that about themselves yet.
Right, exactly. Okay, that's helpful. For my kid, he could be tired and or overstimulated. Overstimulation, meltdown is a very real thing in my house. It happens to me.
I was just
it
going to
happens
say,
to
not
you.
just my children.
No, I remember before I knew for sure that I had ADHD, I would feel like I was in a good mood. And then a kid would come up to me and ask me a question. I'd be prepared to answer that question. Then another kid would like come and interrupt me right in the middle. And I would all of a sudden be like, "Ah," and completely freak out and not be in a good mood anymore and like snap at both of them. Right. And that's just the overstimulation piece. So that's a thing that happens. But that's not usually the only reason why this happens. I just learned about this as we were researching. When your kids need to release emotions at school, you weren't there to support that release of emotions at school because they were at school and you were not, right? So now that you're back together, they're experiencing what's called defensive detachment.
Ooh.
I didn't know what this was. So the best way to explain it is with a scenario.
Okay.
It's like when a parent and child reunite after the child has gone missing in a grocery store. The parent has a few seconds of clutching relief as they hug their child, and then bam, all of a sudden it's, you left me when you shouldn't have. And you are admonishing and kind of hollering at your kid who is now found that you just, you know what I mean? Like you're upset with them for leaving. So you kind of give some backlash here. That's really what's happening with this emotional release at the same time is like they needed you, you weren't there. So now you're getting in trouble because you weren't there. So there's all of this other stuff going on. It's not just holding it together all day long. It's holding it together and not having a safe person to release it to. It's overtired, it's overstimulated, and it's all coming together in one big, as you said, restraint collapse.
But this isn't like a tantrum.
No, it's not a tantrum.
Okay.
It's not. It's a complete collapse. It's a meltdown. It's because they're so overwhelmed that they really just can't keep it all together anymore.
Okay. So another clinical psychologist, I said, like, this is like for real studied, which I thought was pretty validating for me.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, I remember when Abby started full day preschool, I was like, oh, I just need to give her like 6 weeks and she'll stop crying on the way home. She'll stop falling asleep. We were at Thanksgiving before she didn't fall asleep on the way home every day.
Yeah. And I remember talking to you about this because my child at the time, I mean, and obviously not at the time, he's still much younger than Abby, right? But like at the time, he was brand new to full day daycare. And I remember being like, wait, is this like a normal thing? Am I going to have to like try to keep him awake from the dreaded 15-minute nap on the way home at 5:30 every day? Because that's not going to work for us. And you were like, no, this is real.
Yep.
It'll pass, but you have to work your way through it.
Right. So another clinical psychologist, her name is Jennifer Weber. This is what she said. Attending, focusing, and behaving all day at school takes a tremendous amount of both physical and emotional energy for some kids, which can leave them exhausted and dysregulated. Home is often the safe haven where children can feel that they can discharge their excess energy.
Which means get ready, parents, because it's coming back on you.
Right. The discharge is happening. Okay. So then we have Suzanne Diggs-White, who is another clinical counselor. And she says schools are highly procedural and there's so many rules that kids have to follow. They have to sit down when they're told. They have to line up and stay in line. They have to stop activities when they're told, so on, so on, so on. So when the school day ends, all that pent up energy that kids have been using to keep themselves in check can turn into, and she says, time bombs ready to explode as soon as the constraints are removed.
If that doesn't feel real, I don't know what does. Little time bombs where you're walking on eggshells. Like when. Oh, there it is.
And the deal is, like, I have been in a lot of school environments, and I know you have too. I have done like very progressive education where there's very few restraints, and I have done very traditional desks in rows education. But the result is the same.
Yep.
The kids have to match the environment, whatever it is.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, they have this pent up energy that they need to release. Okay. So here's the deal. This show is supposed to help you do you better.
Right.
So we can talk about these meltdowns all day long and say, look, they're real, but that doesn't help you at all. So here.
Validates, but that's it.
They suck. Sorry.
Yeah. Bye.
So, show's done. So from this research that we've done, here are some things that you can do.
Okay.
Number 1, meet their biological needs first. Food, water, and rest. And yeah, the snack that you brought might not be the right snack. And sometimes you have to play that snack game. And sometimes you just say, nope, this is what there is. I'm sorry. But the thing that was really interesting to me was the rest part. Because rest for adults is often quiet time, soft music, maybe zoning out in front of the TV. But surprisingly, for these young kids, rest can be free play outside.
Ooh, smart.
She is resting her mind by allowing her body to move freely without that restraint piece.
Love it.
Right? So like stop at a playground on the way home and say, yep, we're just going to play for 5 minutes. Say, when we get home, I want you to go outside. Or, meet them at the bus stop and race each other home. Whatever it is, allowing some playtime.
Can I go back to the snack thing real quick?
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
You can put the snack out, the adorable ants on a log thing, or you put together a spot in the house where the snacks are, and you're okay with everything in this snack section being eaten. They can choose 1 or 2 things. And then that way, like, they just know, like, you have my permission.
You have options.
Right. To go to the, or if you don't want them in the pantry, you just put that all in a snack tray. You put the tray out, you say, choose 2 things and let them go. And they choose what they want. And then you're not having the snack fight every day. Just saying.
Amazing. That's good. I like it.
There you go. Anyway.
We have trained Kit to say, may I know what my snack options are? Because he used to yell, what's my snack today? And it's like, may I know what my snack options are?
I love that. So smart. Okay, biological needs. We got it.
Okay,
nailed
biological
it.
needs.
One.
Check. Next is let it happen.
Oh, that hurts my heart.
Yeah, this is just like we learned in the Deeply Feeling Kids episode. You can just sit next to your child as they release. But sometimes trying to help escalates the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You can take my word for it, because this is an area of growth for me as a parent that I'm like trying to get in there or trying to stop it. And instead, you just need to let it happen.
Yeah.
But when you let it happen, you need to set some boundaries. So here is what that looks like practically. You start by saying, I understand that you need to get these feelings out. Now, this conversation should not happen at the time that it's happening. This conversation happens at a totally different time, like maybe even a not school day, okay? Give them a safe place and a time limit. I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes. You can be in your room. But when the timer goes off, I'm hoping we can enjoy the rest of our evening. Okay, here's the hardest part. And this is like, thanks, Dr. Becky, as I roll my eyes at her because I told you so and I can't stand it when other people are right. You can't process the meltdown afterward.
No, you have to let it happen and then move on.
You literally
it's so hard.
Move on. Period. That's it. You gave them the 20 minutes. You said they could be in their room. You don't get to talk about it. They did exactly what you said they could do.
Right. And this is probably not the time to do the like thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down.
No. This is, I told you that you could have 20 minutes to cry and scream in your room. And so you did.
Right.
And the timer went. You pulled yourself together. High five. Let's move on.
And remember, it's not the same kind of meltdown, right? It's a
Right.
completely different meltdown, so it's just not it's not appropriate for that.
Yeah.
So don't use it there.
Okay. Here's another one. Set up another debrief time.
Oh.
Okay. So you have these expectations. You have the ants on the log or the June Cleaver moment in your head.
Yeah.
You want to hear about their day.
Of course.
And they want to talk about it eventually. So set up another time. Play a game at dinner. Like we do high-low buffalo at the table. It's structured, it's low risk, it's predictable. You get to decide what your high, low, and buffalo are. So rather than asking a probing question, I'm just asking what was the best part, the worst part, and the most surprising part of your day. They get to decide what they want to share. I'm not going to go back and watch the footage and say, actually, I think the best part of your day was X. Okay. You could do break it down at bath time.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's a good time.
There's another task going on here. Something else is happening. And then you're just casually having a conversation. Maybe you have a cuddle chat at bedtime. You know this is when all the details come out.
For real. Or it's like, Mom, can we talk about my Halloween costume in May?
Right.
Just what happens at my house.
Yeah.
But either way, I still get to learn. I get an insight.
Right. And if this is what's going to work for your family, just back bedtime up 10 minutes.
Or 30.
Right?
Whatever.
Or 30. Whatever. Yeah.
As ADHD.
Okay. Now, for the older kids, build in like a post-homework talk time. Okay. It's snack, it's rest, it's homework, it's 5 questions, and then it's dinner, and it's the same every evening as well as we can hold it together. Okay, but just you need to set a clear expectation of what you desire and explain why you want to know about their day. Okay, especially with older kids, if you're perceived as just curious or even nosy, it's not as powerful as if they know that you miss them during the day and you just want to hear about what they're doing.
Right.
And you have to share about your day too.
Oh, that's a good point. We model the behavior we wish to see. You're right.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's give and take. Okay, and here's my last one.
Okay.
Know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay. The uncontrolled, complete meltdown type of release should slow down or maybe even stop around second-ish grade. Okay. Now, this is like people telling me that you don't have morning sickness after your first trimester. Okay.
Right.
Some people throw up the day that their baby is born.
Right.
So do not say that like, oh, my kid is in second grade, so everything's fine. Your kid might be in 5th grade before they start to realize how they want to decompress other than having this restraint collapse. So don't hold me to, oh, my kid's in 2nd grade. They're 8 years old. This should be fine. Like it might not be that way. Right?
Right.
It just might not be that way. I know for Kit, it's probably not going to be.
And
way.
we're about to start 3rd grade, and I don't know how it's going to go this year, but I know that I want to be prepared.
Yeah. Right. But the decompression period is still going to be there. It's just going to look different as kids get older. Okay. So it might be that there's no talking on the way home from school. Or this kid wants 15 minutes of screen time before engaging with any other humans.
Yep.
Or in my daughter's case, she needs a conversation that has nothing to do with the school day before we dive into processing school.
Yeah.
I have to show her that I am more interested in her as a person than in her day. So
or her as a student. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we typically put on the radio and we talk about the music or the commercials. Sometimes we plan out what our evening's going to look like, kind of looking forward rather than looking back.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Okay. So here we go. What can you do? Meet their biological needs first. Let it happen, but let it happen within safe boundaries and then set up another debrief time after it happens.
Yep.
And then remember that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
I found a quote about this that I wanted to share because it made a big difference to me. And it's Jenna Steller for Motherly. And she says, but once I was able to let go of my expectations, I was able to recognize that simply being with my son was what he needed. Sitting together was enough. He still felt loved and he still knew I missed him. He valued that time of connecting. It just looked different and sounded quieter than I expected.
Whew.
Right? So sweet.
There's nothing else to say.
No. Let's take a quick break. For links to resources mentioned in this episode, head on over to ckandgkpodcast.com/blog to find everything you need. And be sure to follow us on social media. Head over to your favorite social media network and find us at CK and GK Podcast. And now back to the show.
Okay. We're back.
We are.
And we're going to talk about our obsessions. And I'm going to go first.
Yes.
Okay, so my current obsession right now is revisiting my American Sign Language. I studied it right after college for a while, but like any skill, if you don't use it, you lose it. Mm-hmm. But my high school ASL teacher at my school has recently become one of my very favorite people. Present company excluded, of course.
Obviously.
But I want to spend more time talking to Kurt without a translator. So I am back to the basics. I've dug out my classic book, Signing Naturally. Anyone who's learned ASL knows this is like the standard for curriculum. But in one of our conversations recently, he told me a really alarming statistic, and I'm sorry, but like I got a little judgy about this. So listeners, if this is you, I apologize for the side eye that I'm giving. But he told me that about 90-ish% of
90?
deaf children, 90-ish% of deaf children are born to hearing parents.
90.
About 90. Of those hearing parents who have a deaf child, get ready, like put your big girl pants on.
Oh no.
70% of the hearing parents who have a deaf child do not learn to sign.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Both statistics are staggering. You said a 90
was on the
You said 90 and I interrupted you with like 90.
Yes.
Like, where are you going with this?
Yes.
Like, holy smokes. Okay, but also, I'm sorry, 70%.
Yeah, my jaw was on the floor, and he's just looking at me. He's like, I know, right? I'm just like, what? And he goes, I know.
Oh, you are not the only one giving the side eye right now.
Yeah.
Here's what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna. We are not gonna do that to our child. We are not doing that to our child. I cannot.
And I understand, like, I do not have a deaf child, right? Like, my children speak English like I speak English. But I can't imagine not learning to speak my child's language.
Can you imagine how lonely that must be for that child? To have your parents not... I can't.
Or for you as a parent. I want to talk to my child.
And we also don't know by what other means of communication there may be. Maybe they're reading lips or something. You know, we don't know. But I also... ASL is so empowering to the deaf community. I can't imagine not using that with your child. I just can't imagine it. I want to learn it, and I don't.
Funny. He just looked at me. He's like, "Yeah, it's true," and I'm like, "No, it's not. No, it's not." He's like, "No, it is. It is.
No, it
like,
is.
I know it's true."
Yep, I'm also judging. Don't care. I'm not apologizing for my judgment.
Shout out to Kurt.
Be the person who communicates with their child. Okay. Here's my obsession. We've talked about this before because it has been 4 years since we've been doing this show. And we know that I'm obsessed with the Olympics. And last Olympics, that was Tokyo, supposed to be in 2020, actually happened in 2021. I was obsessed. And I'm still obsessed. At the time of this recording, the Olympics are on, and I cannot stop watching. The amount of wholesome content coming out of this is insane. We got Snoop.
Right. America's Grandpa.
And replacement
Flava Flav. Loving
Flava Flav sponsoring the women's polo team for the next 5 years. He's got a 5-year contract. And I don't know if you heard this, but one of the track and field athletes, and I forget her name, she's a fields athlete primarily. I believe she like throws discus or something, was like, my school is paying football players enough to buy cars and stuff. Meanwhile, I can't pay rent, and I'm an Olympic athlete, and they're just sitting at home right now. So what's that about? And Flava Flav chimes in and says, "Oh girl, I got you. DM me and I'll make sure that your rent is paid." And then Alex Ohani, I suppose I'm saying his name wrong. The guy who's married to Serena Williams.
Okay.
Alex Ohanian, I think is his name, is how you say it. Anyway, he was like, "Oh yeah."
Let's flip the script a little bit and just say Mr. Serena Williams.
Mr. Serena. Well, he's famous in his own right. He did something really
No, I'm just saying every once in a while it's nice to say, like, you know,
Amal Clooney.
Yeah.
And not George. Right. I got you. Anyway, he was like, "Hey, Flava Flav, let me know. I'll go halvesies in on that with you." More. So now her rent is covered, right? So she can focus on the Olympics. So that's great. Also, pommel horse guy, Steve something that I can't say his last name with an N. Precious precious boy, and what was the meme that I saw? He pummeled the mess out of that horse. So great. All of the amazing women of the Olympics.
Right?
Katie Ledecky, Kate Douglas, Simone
I mean,
Biles,
the
Storm
stars this
Childs,
year are
all
women.
of them. They are killing it. The meme I saw, and I can't remember the creator, but I believe her name was Eileen Mary O'Connell, if I'm associating it with the right person. She goes, my hobbies include watching the Olympics on my big screen while looking at the memes about the Olympics on my little screen. The memes coming out of this are top tier. We've got LeBron James in
crossing the
River Seine with looking like George Washington.
Have you seen the one where someone like compares him to George Washington? And he's like, first he played for the Cavs, then he went to South Beach. George Washington started with the English, now he's American. And it just shows you that Michael Jordan never turned his back on anyone.
The content is so good. Like, I am all in. And like, there are so many times where I'm like, this country needs to fix this and this and this and this. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, if you don't cancel work for the next 2 weeks, it's un-American, because I need to sit here, watch my team and cheer for ping pong. Like, I need to do this right now. I've always been a ping pong fan. Like, 3-on-3 basketball, bring it on. Like,
Yeah, no, I know.
Things I've never watched before. Yes, I will support that. So,
well,
obsessed.
I saw one recently that was like the guy making up Olympic sports. And he's like, this will be the pinnacle of human endeavor. Running, jumping, swimming, underwater dancing, balancing a ball. It's like, yeah, some of these sports.
Rhythmic gymnastics is the one that has the balancing the ball. Like, what?
Right.
These are all, or the other content that I cannot get enough of right now. First of all, there's the guy who like walks across his like farm fence and pretends to do the balance beam, which is just hysterical. But the other ones are like, I regret to inform you that I did not go to the Olympics. And it's these sweet gymnasts who like spin around. They try to do that like wolf turn, and then they just completely tank and fall to the ground.
Yeah.
Just
or
like,
I saw one where the girl was like gonna do a backwards flip dive.
Oh no.
And she just lands flat on her back. And it's like clear that this was not competition. This was like at someone's pool. Like,
just, oh man, it's some of the funniest stuff.
Good.
And it's all so wholesome. There's nothing mean coming out about this.
No.
It's all just really good things. And there's been some controversies because there's no Olympics that isn't without controversy.
Of course.
And at the same time, I've seen so many amazing things, like athletes cheering on other countries who are supposed to be their rivals, and just like, I love it. And Olympics all the time in my house, all the time.
I love it. Okay, so like, as that was your obsession, it also like qualifies as a gem. It's so good. But let me tell you what my gem is. Okay, so I recently read an article about ADHD. Big surprise. My newly diagnosed husband.
Stop.
Yep.
No
yeah, when
way.
he got it, he texted me, Caitlin and I are going to be med twins.
Yes. You know, it's so funny. It didn't occur to me because you like when I'm with the two of you, like, you are the one who clearly resonates with me. You and I are the ones who are like, our brains are bouncing off all over the place like ping pong balls. But he's like normal and rational.
Mm-hmm.
But he does have hyperfixations. Like 100% he has hyperfixations.
He turned one of them into a job.
Yes.
Hashtag Disney. Okay, so here's the deal.
I'm talking about.
Or, you know, the Metallica tattoo.
Impulsivity.
Okay. So I told him for years, when you unload the dishwasher, you close the cabinets. When you get a glass out of a cabinet, you then close the cabinet.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what we do.
So in this article, it said leaving cabinet doors open is often an ADHD trait.
It's one of my signature moves.
I mean, she's sitting in front of an open door right now. Anyway, I said to John across the living room, hey, leaving cabinet doors? Often an ADHD trait.
Yep.
And Kit interjects, he's 5. Who has ADHD? And I just look at him and said, everyone in this house.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Which means we know you do too.
Yeah.
Friends.
It's easier for us to say who doesn't.
Right.
In this family.
Because that's a big fat goose egg. And
yeah. And what's really funny is like my mom super does not.
Oh, interesting.
Super does not. My dad, 100%.
That's, well, yeah, your dad. I mean, I barely know your dad. I've met him once and I'm like,
but
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. And what's funny is he is one of those people who like turned it into a superpower, right? He had a very, very successful career in the military because he was able to channel his hyperfixation or do that, like turn on production mode and get everything done in 2.5 hours.
Right. The routine there, the rigidity of those rules is so helpful for that. I can't even.
But he can go into his recording studio and disappear for 16 hours.
Yeah. Or hyperfixate on making an album for
his pretend band.
For his pretend band. Right.
That he made with friends 50 years ago.
Right. Exactly.
No big deal. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's hilarious. And yeah, I have no words except like welcome. We welcome you. All of us late diagnosed folks. Hey. Or undiagnosed, but all the content, it just feels a little too real. You are welcome here. I recently went to my brother's wedding, and I can talk more about that later, but my mom is very good about knowing that children will be at an event. And my brother's, I guess he's my brother's father-in-law. I don't know what that would be to me, just like extended
your
family
brother's
to me.
father-in-law.
Yeah, oh, perfect. He was like, I notice you're kind of taking on some of your mom's like stress and responsibilities. And I was like, definitely not responsibilities. Like she's all over this. But like I am supporting where I can, and like
right.
You know,
but
she
that
wants
matriarch crown is not being passed on yet.
No.
I know.
No, I mean of my
sure.
immediate, yes.
Yes, sure.
Of her, no. But I am trying to help her execute because, as she says, she's not a creative, and she has a vision, but she doesn't know how to put it together. So that's where I sort of stepped in. Anyway, she's very good about like, you know, this is an event for adults, but there's going to be children there. So how do I address that? So she did things like buy animal crackers, like the Barnum's animal crackers in the boxes. Oh. Like how smart, right? Like just so sweet. And then at the rehearsal dinner, there were only 2 kids there. And one of them was my son. And the other one was this beautiful little girl who's my brother's best man's daughter. And she turned 4 on the day of the rehearsal dinner. Like it was her birthday. So when she left, we all sang happy birthday to her. It was she was like, yeah, it was so sweet.
That's like when Kit had his 4th birthday at the same time as John's buddy's 40th.
Yes.
And we told Kit that was his birthday party.
Why are we having it at a brewery? I don't understand.
No.
This is where 4-year-olds have parties.
Birthday.
Right.
With a bunch of people you don't know, but some of you do.
Right. Yeah.
And there's costumes.
Yeah, and there's a costume and a playground. Right.
It's 80s themed, but not for any particular reason.
Nope. Nope. Not at all. Not even a little bit. So my mom, being the forward-thinking person that she is, has gifts for the little ones. And the gifts are, of course, things that they can do during the rehearsal dinner. And Sam goes and opens his gift. And I then go to my assigned seat at the table. And there's a coloring book that says cat butts.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, but it does. My mom got my son a cat butt coloring book for the rehearsal. And he's coloring it at my brother's wedding's rehearsal dinner. And I'm just
amazing.
Like, we're at a dinner, we're at an Italian restaurant. Right. I was like, this is amazing that this is the kind of person that my mom is, that she will buy a coloring book of cat butts because it's funny.
And it's going to keep him engaged.
And it's going to keep him engaged.
It's novel for sure.
It was hysterical. And I was kind of mortified. Like, oh my God, my son is coloring cat butts at the table. Meanwhile, everyone thinks it's hilarious. Everyone who saw it. Like, I don't think everybody saw it. But it's funny. And the fact that it was given to him by her meant
Right.
there was permission there. It's not like I just showed up with a cat book for my son to color. It was just great. But it turns out that coloring cat butts will entertain your child at a wedding rehearsal dinner. So if you ever need something to do,
I love that.
grab this coloring book. It is widely available wherever you want to get it.
Okay. Well,
so fun.
It is that time.
It is that time. Oh.
So I'm going to say make good choices.
And you can handle the after-school restraint collapse. You got this. And when you can't, come back here, put your headphones in, and listen to us talk about cat butt coloring books.
Or Happy season 4.
Yay! Bye!
Bye!
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.